So guys, northern Nigeria is really boiling. You need to see what is happening in the country. This time around, it's happening in the northwest, like Sokoto and Katsina, and then it's also happening in Kogi State. Gunmen actually stormed Kogi State and they almost by the police people they met there. You know, they raided everywhere. So when you are talking about northern Nigeria now, I want you to begin to picture an unsaved environment, very unsafe today, and you find out that many of the northern leaders are silent, they are quiet, nobody is speaking up. Rather, we are hearing them talking about amnesty, forgiveness, and pardon, and all kinds of things for the terrorists. So guys, you need to watch this video for you to get first-hand information of what is happening in the north. Many of the northerners are also not happy with their leaders, who are the ones releasing these terrorists back into the society. They are resisting it, they are rejecting it, but guess what? They cannot say much, because report has it that the Katsina state governor that released terrorists did not just release them, they were actually paid some compensation. That is what I saw online, and you can imagine if that be the case. I mean, people who have killed the Nigerian military men, they have invaded our military bases and carted away so many armories, set vehicles ablaze, shot down military jets, done all kinds of things. The government want to release them from prison and also pay them some money as part of, you know, peace deal that they entered into. So guys, this is one of the reasons why we cannot fight insecurity in the country. So sometimes when people begin to say Peter Obi cannot govern Nigeria, Peter Obi does not have the audacity, Peter Obi cannot step on toes, I'm just wondering if somebody can tell me what Tinubu has done. In the midst of all this insecurity, Tinubu is mute. Tinubu is silent. I'm just wondering, who is Tinubu afraid of in the north? Who is that person? Is it that Tinubu cannot stand the Sultan, or he cannot stand the northern leaders that we've seen on media houses coming out to speak? Why is it that Tinubu cannot rescue Nigeria, save the lives of Nigeria? We are all waiting for Donald Trump to strike terrorists. If Trump doesn't come, they will just keep buying people, and you find out that many of these things are not being captured by the media houses. Neither are you hearing it from the military giving press release. Neither is the government coming out, the Tinubu's government coming out to give Nigerians updates on what they are doing to keep Nigerians safe. Nobody is talking about it, and people are being buyed left, right, front, back, and center. Now take your time and watch this video. See what is happening in Sokoto Katsina axis, and also see what is happening in one community in Kogi State, just for you to know that they are all over the places. They just want to invade Nigeria. This Kogi State location is called Obajana. Just for you to see everywhere is on fire in Nigeria. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.
Governor of Kogi State Usman Ododo has ordered the demolition of terrorist hideouts in Okene local government area of the state. The operation has commenced with the demolition of a suspected Islamic State West Africa province hideout in Sambal Idoji following a series of banditry attacks in the area. A few months ago, controversial cleric Sheikh Gumi alleged that 90% of terrorists operating in Kogi State and the southwest are Ibira, youths who have been indoctrinated with extremist ideologies. Recently, the alleged mastermind of the Deeper Life Bible Church attack in Okene, said to be a leader of the Ansari terrorist group, was rearrested and arraigned. These developments, according to security sources, point to the growing presence of extremist tendencies in the area. The state government, however, has vowed to decisively root out all criminal elements to ensure lasting peace and stability in Kogi State.
We have discovered that criminals have taken over this property. This property is owned by government, but fraudulently it was issued to an individual. And of course, when we discover that the activities going on here is giving our people unrest, so we have to take a bold decision to secure our people, because that is part of what I have signed to do. And as I've said, I will never negotiate with any criminal. I will never negotiate with any criminal. I will take that fight to them wherever they are. So we are here to carry out this exercise so that our people can sleep with their two eyes closed. This is Okene, and it's an example to everybody. If you harbor criminal, your house will go down.
Bringing our reporter Michael Ila, who is standing by for us. Michael, this is quite a significant step to see that the governor and security agencies are trying to demolish hideouts of terrorists in the state. Just give us an update on this and then some of the findings during the demolition.
So, hello, Precious. The governor himself set out at the wee hours of this morning to personally inspect that demolition, seeing that the statement being issued by the Kogi state government is being carried out to the latter. So he says if he must walk the talk of stamping out insecurity in Kogi state, then the charity should begin from home. But from what we gathered from the residents, that the information the state government even got and other security operatives got as regards some of those structures came from the residents. So it was completely in line with the whistleblower policy that residents who see something should definitely say something. So, but what we have as at now is that some of those structures were serving as criminal hideouts in the past, and then we used to carry out kidnapping and other criminal related activities. So the governor says the demolition will continue across the state and is in line in his efforts to walk the talk in stamping out insecurity in Kogi state. And you also recall that this is coming just moments after the state government itself, through the Commissioner of Information, released a statement invalidating the certificates of occupancy which had been fraudulently issued to some individuals in the past. So the state government is also calling on individuals who want to acquire properties to go through the legal means to acquire these documents, so as not to become victims of demolition. Precious.
And what are you hearing from the residents? How do they feel about this demolition? Do they feel safer, or what are they asking for more from the government and security agencies?
Well, it's a combination of both. They are excited about the move, and they're also calling for more. While the residents in Kogi West, particularly, we have monitored comments on social media, and we know that residents in Kogi West are saying more of this can actually happen in Kogi West, considering that Kogi West is receiving the major heat of this criminal banditry and other criminal related activities, considering that Kogi state borders about 10 states and the FCT, and then there's an onslaught by security operatives on these bandits, particularly in states like Ekiti and Kwara, and then these guys are infiltrating Kogi state, particularly into Kogi West. So the residents in Kogi West are saying what is happening here in Kogi Central should also be extended in Kogi West, and also some parts of Kogi is just in the efforts to stamp out insecurity. So by and large, as I mentioned earlier, it came from a whistleblower policy, and the residents blew this whistle, and they are excited by the move. They are saying some of these structures have been suspicious activities have been going on some of those structures. We have been seeing suspicious movements in and out, and they're just calling that this effort should be sustained.
Hopefully,
it is the Christian communities that had to look for a way to be able to get their people out. See the way they were dehumanized. Let me talk about a case. Reverend Archie was killed just because of his faith. We've been making an agenda for his wife that has been in captivity since Reverend Archie was killed weeks ago. I have been advocating for Reverend Archie's killing when I was on holidays in England. I came back to this country on the 3rd of December. So before then, Reverend Archie's wife had been in captivity. I don't know if they have released Reverend Archie's wife, only if they will release her tomorrow. No government agency. The last time it was the family that was running around. Reverend Archie's body was only released after the family had gone to put some money forward to the criminals. Reverend Archie was picked up in his home. So does this, rather than doing all of this, why don't we capitalize or focus on how we can solve the problem? I was reading in African reports as regards this lobbying thing that one lawyer was paid $5,000 just to write a letter to some American, what is it called, senators or something. $5,000 to write a letter.
Well, a lawyer deserves his wages.
I'm not saying they don't deserve their wage, Doctor, but I'm not arguing that lawyer doesn't deserve their wages. I'm just stating empirical facts. But see the sad reality. So I think it's time for us to look within. As we speak today, I don't even know, maybe if the government, let's even set up a website, a glossary of all of those and index that have been kidnapped, so that we even know the cases that are currently on, the cases that we are pursuing, because I know it can even be overwhelming that they even lost track of most of these cases. The cases that have been opened up, what's the coordinated effort? See this woman, see what she has been through. Her face tells the story of Nigeria. When we say Nigeria happened now, oh, the data boys and the those under PRU establishment, they will come and tell you that you are stupid, you are mad, that you hate Nigeria. The emergency lovers of Nigeria will come.
Yeah.
So maybe if we can even set up the website, have a glossary, a reporting website that we can all harmonize, so that we know the cases that we are even tracking. And please, for what is worth, ensure that Reverend Archie's wife gets out there.
Absolutely, solutions.
Okay, the whole issue is about the worsening state of insecurity in Nigeria and the impunity of non-state actors. Bello Tuji Kachala, those are his full names, known for short as Bello Tuji, is considered the most notorious, terrorist bandit in the northwestern part of Nigeria. Now, before this latest attack in that local government in Sokoto, it was reported to have given the people in that area 24 hours notice to leave their homes. And I think there were videos of persons actually running away. And then this latest attack, he taking control of the place, injuring people, abducting more than 20 residents in that community in Sokoto East. Now, this Bello Tuji first came to fame, I think, in 2022, when in one particular incident, he was reported to have killed over 200 persons, he and his gang. Now, do you know the irony? The irony is that at a point, this same Bello Tuji, whether he was granted interview or whatever, was reported to have been given healers vehicles by a sitting governor in Nigeria. So this romance between authority figures and bandits and terrorists who should be arrested and brought to book is part of the problem. Now, I think in that same northwestern axis of Nigeria, whether it was Bello Tuji or somebody, there was an arrangement to even give him a chieftaincy title by a community. So you see, the impunity of non-state actors emboldens them, and the connivance of the state or state figures encourages these non-state actors to continue in this regard. It's not as if the authorities do not know who he is. It's not as if they don't know where he operates. So it's fixed beyond insecurity to the failure of the state to apprehend these criminal elements.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with the Equa Church in Kogi State, right? In the community in Kogi State. Now, over 30 persons were abducted on December 14. Now, on January 1, we were told that 4 persons were released. By January 13, 4 persons were released because 3 were reported to have died. They gave them 3 corpses, released 4. On January 13, they released 14 more persons. Now, on January 14, they released another set of 6. Now, they've released total 24 persons. We're told that 17 persons are still in custody. And all of this as a result of the effort of the Community Development Association and the families. You ask yourself again, where are state agents?
That's the question.
Where are the people who have a constitutional obligation to protect Nigerians? And that's why it looks helpless, whether the victims are, Christians or they are Muslims.
Right.
We're under siege, but the only good story there is that the Minister of Defense now says they are setting up new training depots, one in Ebonyi State and some elsewhere to scale up the Nigerian government living up to its responsibility. We will comment on it when we see the results. And we will say, well, the state authorities have woken up and they are no longer jollofing and pepper souping with bandits and terrorists.
Yes, such key points. Residents should not have to fend for themselves. But from insecurity, let's now head to our next story, sports. With the country reacting with a sense of pride, albeit sadness, at the Super Eagles' hard-fought but ultimately losing match yesterday against Morocco. Now, the federal government commending the team for their performance throughout AFCON, assuring each and every player, Nigeria is proud of you. And that was the sentiment largely echoed online. I'll take some quick reactions. One person said, "The boys gave their best effort. Today just wasn't our day. Penalty shootouts rely heavily on luck rather than skill. What I enjoy most is how Super Eagles bring the country together. When you don't come out on top, you learn it's all part of life." Daniel said, "The Super Eagles need to work on their performance as a team. Individually, our players are good, but not as a squad. Better preparation next time." And then finally, Peter Obi said, "Thank you for a beautiful 120 minutes of incredible play. You showed your strength, prowess against all odds. The journey is not over. You've made the nation proud. Keep your heads high. The eagle never stops soaring. There's another stage. Let's go get that medal. You have done well." So games like this are always so stressful to watch, Vimbai, and while it's sad that we didn't win, it feels like the national sentiment around this game has been somewhat supportive. It's sad, it hurts, but, you know, is there any sense of reprieve here? Any lessons learned?
Well, I mean, there are lessons to be learned. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay up for the whole match. I did my best, but I fell asleep at some point. But, you know, the key takeaways from
Nigeria is playing, you fell asleep.
It was late.
And your Nigeria wife?
It was late.
I'm a Nigerian wife with 2 little kids who wakes up at 4 a.m. to come to work every day. So, but you know, what struck me was that those opening minutes, Morocco played a very intense and aggressive game. They dominated. They were making shots at goal immediately from the time the whistle blew. But the fact that even given that pressure, given the fact that when you looked at the stadium, it was a wave of red. And if you've been to a football match live, you know how intense that is when you can't see your people. And, you know, it's just the opponent, of course, in this instance, the host country, and they're singing and they're chanting and they're, so all those psychological elements, they play a part. I mean, all of the majority of the Super Eagles players, they've traveled vastly. They're well exposed. They're players who have played in various different parts of the world extensively. But I don't think that you can ever get used to that environment and that intimidation from your opponent when you're playing on home ground. Nevertheless, they took it to the very end. And I love the person who made the contribution that penalties are almost a game of chance, you know, and that just goes to show that they did their best. They put their best foot forward. Sportsmanship says somebody must win and somebody must lose. And if only we can learn that culture, if only psychologically, even our politicians, you know, can get to a point where they can accept that you don't have to win by force by any means necessary every time. You can lose. You can actually just lose gracefully. So there's takeaways in everyday life, I think, that we can learn from sport, which is why we always try to encourage exposing children to sport at an early age. Having said that, it's fantastic to see. We've already spoken about Samad Rabiu and the fact that they'll still get their $500,000. They still have a chance at the third place against Egypt, which, you know, is not a walkover either. But it was a good outing, and not everything has to be black or white. We can lose gracefully as well.
Yes, that's a very good point. You know, so many lessons to learn from the world of sports.
The referee was biased. I just had to get that out of my mind.
Okay.
The referee was very biased. I don't know. Ghana follow us this year.
Even after we said that their jollof is better, just for yesterday.
Ghana follow us this year. Very biased guy. See the card he gave. What's the guy? Bassi to miss the next match. Somebody was pulling Bassi instead of you to blow for Bassi. Very biased. All the rough tackle Morocco did. Didn't they give them yellow card? Then secondly, the Moroccans too were biased. We couldn't get tickets. They hoarded the tickets. Moroccans were full. They were everywhere in the stadium, but Nigerians even couldn't get it. I know, yes, we couldn't have trumped them, but they hoarded tickets. Then the noise, goodness me, over 100 decibels when Nigerians want to play kick. What is it? Harry, good boys, Jerry. It's enough. It is well, guys. You did well.
Nigerians have to give excuses.
We would. The referee was biased. The referee was Ojoro
against 11.
Ojoro Wambe.
Clearly, the loss still stings. The loss still stings. But you know, we learn what we can from that game. Now to Anambra State, where a new video has people online talking about how a knight of the Catholic Church, James Louis Okoye, publicly said that he would renounce his Christianity during the dedication of the new Our Lady of Assumption Cathedral at Nnewi on Wednesday. Now, in the video, Okoye calls out the church for not acknowledging the former Anambra South Senator Ifeanyi Uba, who passed away in July of 2024. And he is said to have been instrumental in the cathedral's groundbreaking and construction. Let's take a look.
My last day as a Christian. My last day as Christian is today. If I knew
Now, however, later on Wednesday, another video emerged from the cathedral service that showed the moment the cathedral's bishop, Dr. Jonas Benson Okoye, did, albeit briefly, recognize the late senator during the ceremony. Let's quickly watch that as well.
Some don't know why I asked him to preside at this mass. My predecessor started this cathedral, I continued. And a good number of the faithful, including the late Senator Oba, also contributed. But because I wanted a connection between me and my predecessor, he ordained my predecessor a priest. He confirmed me in faith, and I chose the same day of his episcopal consecration for my own episcopal consecration.
Now, the cathedral was dedicated by His Eminence Francis Cardinal Arinze, with Anambra State Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo in attendance, as well as the former presidential candidate Peter Obi. But these two videos have sparked a lot of reactions online. Some people say that the man's reaction was too dramatic, while others say that the late senator's recognition wasn't enough. Even though we heard it, it was brief, Dr. Abati.
Who bring that to be Christian?
Well, I agree with those who say that the man's reaction was dramatic. What is even ironic here is that the gentleman, whose name is James Louis, is a knight of the church. You expect that certain persons who have knighthood, that a certain level of conduct, a certain level of leadership, responsibility, decorum is expected from them. And this gentleman just went overboard. Now, Ifeanyi Uba of blessed memory, God rest his soul, you know, yes, certainly, as the bishop acknowledged, was one of the persons who contributed to the building of that cathedral, which is part of the obligation of many, you know, devout Christians. You try to support the church, you try to make your own contribution. But the problem with Sir James is that he thinks that the recognition was not enough. Now, when you do things in the house of God, I thought the received opinion is that God sees you. He already sees your heart, and your contribution is between you and your God. But here, it's not even Senator Ifeanyi Uba, you know, making a case. He represented Anambra South Senatorial District. It's after his death, this gentleman, on his behalf, is expressing a sense of entitlement. And many Christians will raise the question whether that's the Christian way. You know, there are many Nigerians, when they donate something to the church, they will go and write their name on even ordinary plastic chairs donated by the family of XYZ, you know, in a very conspicuous manner. You know, if it is a wristwatch, you will not almost see the lettering. You may say, oh, Mr. Ikenna, you know, donated this to this church. You know, so people have this sense of entitlement, making it seem as if church has now become a place for showing off. And I think it's very unfortunate. Now, if you look at the circumstances, this night, he probably stepped out when the bishop was speaking and mentioned Senator Uba. He probably was busy on his phone. A lot of people go to church, they spend half of the time, you know, communicating with their phones and not listening to the preacher. So all of this is just you know, unfortunate. But I hope he will change his mind and say, you know, he's not coming back to church just because I don't know his relationship with Senator Uba, just that Senator Uba was not in his estimation properly recognized. If he's a true Christian, he will show up again in church this week. We don't need people like this in Christian. Since he's a Catholic, he should go and ask for forgiveness.
No, he should go and do confession. But we don't need people like this in Christian.
The Lord leaves the 99.
No. If he does this confessional, you know, forgiveness is guaranteed. Our Lord is a forgiving God, and He sees the heart of everyone.
No, I'm sorry. If this matter, a matter which I call as fickle as this, can make you renounce your faith, then I don't think you're fit to hold that faith. And I think it's a very serious matter for him. If a matter as fickle as this can make you denounce your faith, I don't think you're fit to hold that faith.
Yes.
Well, the church, even those who sing, who have sinned, you know, in the house of the Lord, when they come back as prodigal sons, they will be forgiven. So let him go and seek penance.
Yes, and you know, still in Anambra State, hopefully we have time for this one. The state's public relations officer of police, Tochukwu Ikenga, confirmed the arrest of a masquerade during a burial ceremony after it violently attacked people at the event. Now, the incident happened on Monday, and in video circulating that we brought you yesterday, it clearly shows the exact moment that the masquerade lunged at a performer, and we have this video on stage and started attacking people. People had to hold back this masquerade. According to the police, it pushed motorcyclists as well as an elderly man who hit his head on a car. And this particular masquerade is said to only appear after 6 p.m. because it's known for its destructive behavior. But, you know, this has resurfaced a lot of conversations about the balance between cultural traditions and people's safety, and as we see more masquerade arrests and bans, what it means for the future of the tradition. But next, let's take our milestone report. With the federal government and the country at large paying tribute to the nation's military all week, culminating today, January 15, on Armed Forces Remembrance Day. So for the last few days, the federal government has been consistent in recognizing and honoring every military man and woman for defending the country's unity, its peace, and territory, day in, day out. Armed Forces Remembrance Day is observed every year in Nigeria on the 15th of January to honor the individuals in the military who died during the Civil War, who maintained the nation's internal security, as well as peacekeeping missions abroad. Now, the celebrations taking place all week with a program that balanced solemn, intentional remembrance with joy and national pride, showcased the heroism and humanity of Nigeria's armed forces, from events at the National Defense College to a gala at the Presidential Villa and more. Each event was representative of the sacrifices of current, former, and fallen soldiers, while emphasizing the government's commitment to our nation's troops and their families. So there have been calls to make today a national public holiday, to give the public a day to recognize the military, especially in times like this, as the country deals with insecurity and terrorism as well. And we don't have too much time to discuss it, but you know, national.
Very quickly, we already have too many holidays. I know the idea of having a public holiday on Armed Forces Remembrance Day is to involve the community so that it doesn't look like a strictly military affair. After all, they have Remembrance Day in Remembrance Sunday in the UK, Veterans Day in Ghana, Veterans Day also in the United States. But I think it is more important to pay attention to the welfare of the families of these fallen heroes. Many of their family members have not received their entitlements. Many of them have no accommodation. The ones that are even serving, they are not being well taken care of. I think the welfare of both the living and the fallen heroes of the Nigerian military is more important to me rather than having a holiday where, you know, the basic issues will not be addressed. People will just spend the day sleeping or drinking or just playing about. The fundamental issues should be the focus.
And education. Education. If anything, this is a day to be playing maybe documentaries or, you know, to have stage plays or something. Because there's an entire generation that doesn't appreciate or doesn't even have just basic fundamental knowledge of the significance of what we're commemorating today.
So I think it's long overdue. We need to have like an harmonized collection pot where we can target funds for our veterans, where it could be a series of events, it could be a series of discounts in partnership with companies, it could be a series of charitable donation by companies and all of that, and we have an harmonized funds, and this money can be deployed to the use of veterans, because we don't really do a lot in terms of veteran service, you know, we don't really do a lot in terms of mental health awareness for veterans and things like that. So there's so much, and I think this is the time to institute that, really.
So much.
And as for that masquerade, Agaba, or what do they call it? The lesson is how to strike a balance between culture and public safety. It's not enough to say Agaba is known for destructive behavior. Since he's a masquerade, an ancestor, he's in detention now. They should not give him water or food, because ancestors, do they drink water in the other world? I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
There's a person behind
He will remove the mask and he will have his day in court.
Exactly. Thank you all for your great analysis today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.
So guys, you have seen what is happening in Nigeria. I'm just wondering what is happening. Kogi government begins demolition of suspected, there's demolition suspected ISWAP terrorist bandits hideout. So guys, a whole lot is happening. I mean, when you hear a whole lot is happening, it's really happening in northern Nigeria. These are the things that we are allowed to, you know, fester in Nigeria. Honestly, these are some of the things that we allowed since 2015 when Buhari came in. Nigeria now became a terrorist country where all kinds of things are happening and nobody is held accountable. It's really, really so pathetic, you know, that we are seeing all this in this country today. Really so sad. Anyway, guys, I don't know what you make of what is happening in Nigeria. My heart bleeds, you know. My heart really bleeds when I look at what this country is turning out to become today. It's really, really so sad seeing that the government does not even care about the people. It's none of their problem what Nigerians are going through. All they want is their own. I mean, what people are going through, the security situation in this country is not bothering any of them. For Tinubu to even stay outside the country all this while, you know, for him to just go and stay unperturbed, untouched and all that, it means that Tinubu does not even know what leadership is. And that's why when people begin to say, Peter Obi cannot lead, Peter Obi does not have the liver, Peter Obi cannot do this, Peter Obi cannot do that. That tells you that. See, during the time of Buhari, Yaya Bello was one of those people that were being used badly. Before Buhari even say come to Abuja, Yaya Bello was there, was just behaving so sheepishly. He wanted to become Buhari's favorite man. You know, these are politicians. They don't know what service to humanity is. Everything they do is them first. Yaya Bello wanted to become Buhari's first man so that he will fall in love with Buhari. And then possibly Buhari would then Possibly Buhari will then give him presidency if he's leaving. You know, it's really, really so sad. This is what they did to Nigeria. They damaged the entire country, inviting Fulani terrorists into Nigeria, making them to feel they own Nigeria, and all kinds of things that they did in this country. Now, see where we are as a country. See where we are, Nigerians. Just see where we are. People cannot move around. People cannot do anything. You don't have your own say. You can't even... I mean, nothing is working. Nothing is just working in this country. Anyway, you must have heard that somebody from Benue State, who is also a lawyer, went to the United States to testify before the United States lawmakers, you know, to tell them about the level of killings, what they're actually going through in Nigeria. Because, yes, Ryan Moore was in Nigeria to get those information firsthand. But it's also good when you have somebody who comes in front of the other lawmakers to tell them that, see, this thing is no longer a joke, that people are dying in their numbers. So that was actually what this guy did. He went there and testified before the House. Now, let me take you through some of the headlines here on the social media. This one says, just seen, Anambra State Governor Soludo has urged Igbo to move beyond the Nigerian civil war and redirect their energy towards national participation and development, saying the war ended 56 years ago. Okay. The war ended. Igbos have moved on. It's Nigeria you should be talking to. Suspected Fulani militias unleash mayhem in Delta State. Everywhere. Fulani, everywhere. Lawyer Jofo calls for state emergency in Katsina after release of 70 terrorists. So they actually released these 30 terrorists. Tinubu government knows where Bello Tuji, other terrorists are, but deliberately chooses to fail Nigerians. Malam Jibri saying Tinubu government knows where they are, but won't like to go. Tinubu is scared to step on toes like they've told us. Islam will never defeat Christianity. Many religion empire rulers and kings have waged war and fought against Christianity. They all had one thing in common. They all failed. The cross of Jesus is stronger than the sword of Islam. The cross of Christ is stronger. Yes, it's stronger, honestly. So, guys, I don't know what you make of all what is happening. Soludo is asking Ndebo to move on. To move on and forget the civil war, while in Sokoto State terrorists are being released. Who is now fighting the war again? Fantastic news. Governor Soludo's vision offers hopeful path forward. This man say, hey, now wow, okay. This man say 56 later and it's time to heal and build. Let's channel our energy into progress, not the past. Okay. This person say it's easy for a governor to preach moving on when he's enjoying the perk of office, but how do you tell a youth in the southeast to direct their energy when federal government still treats the region like a conquered territory? Soludo and our Igbo leaders have become Abuja megaphones, blaming the people for the insecurity they helped create through years of neglect and bad governance. Okay. And this other person said, oops, share you day for government. He's enjoying now. Wait, make him leave government. And another person, look, even we Benin people still the vex for invasion 1987. If we are not massively gaining from this fraud, if you are not massively gaining from this fraud, you wouldn't say this at first. Another person here said, this is a fool. That war didn't end, has never ended. Let them come to Lagos and see the destruction of properties of Igbo markets, burning of traders' goods with fire by the Western Nigerian people. Up north, they slaughtered them too, and these fools say the war ended. Where is Nnamdi Kanu? Hey, God, where's Nnamdi Kanu? Soludo, where's Nnamdi Kanu? Soludo, where's Nnamdi Kanu? Nnamdi Kanu, where's Nnamdi Kanu? Isn't it a shame that Peter Obi said and he was criticized? Isn't this the same thing Peter Obi said and he was criticized? Soludo must have eaten corn, the same Igbos that are being marginalized around nonsense. The Igbos demanding a separate state are only happen because Nigeria keeps showing them they don't belong there. That's a sensible advice. Forget civil war and whatever. Live in unity and let's strive towards a better nation. Okay, guys, let me know what you think about Soludo's advice one day. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Thank you.